I personally don't feel like 5G is just another G adding like we did it for 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G, right? So just adding this 5G in the whole ecosystem of our telco, it's completely changing this the way we work, the way we behave, the way we connect with the people, right? And while saying so, and Prasanna has been very good, kind of very straight example of highway and then connected with the Gaurav and all that, how all the things are there. And when you go to the Petcal aspects, it's a bit true, because when you are deploying the 5G, you are entering into the lot many more interfaces in the network in terms of IoT, in terms of security complications. Now your refrigerator will be another SIM for you while just sitting in the right, and then whether this refrigerator vendor and all will have a right set of security and all, like be able to do the handsets and all. So those type of complications are going to come for us. Then like type of a few panelists already informed the type of latency, low latency we require, the type of use cases are coming. So these all the things, these all the complications and the network also kind of increase the operational complexity also, because as much as application, as much of slices, as much of people, as much of interface you will add it, so it's all give you the bigger picture, bigger use cases, much more reliability on the network and options, and along with that you have a kind of complexity also with respect to handling the whole network, right? Whole ecosystem, because that is the one area where each and every global operator is thinking we are going to get lot many dynamics as a use case, as a user, how I'm going to use that data more effective, and then feedback to my normal use cases and the normal customer experience to enhance that, right? And the only answer to handle this complexity and security concern is putting the things in an AIML perspective, because normal automation, so scripting is no more is going to work out on that area, right? So putting the AIML construct, having the huge amount of data handling and analytics is the kind of answer for the 5G network and operational complexity. So that's one point is that. Now, while saying so, how our India can kind of take the lead on it, help on it, right? Because India was always the software hub, right? We always say like 70% of the world software is supplied by India, and it's a unique positioning for our Indian people and the Indian talent to come and start seeing the whole ecosystem of 5G, not even India perspective, how we can enable globally and improve the life of the people while using our software excellence skill, and do the lot many kind of artificial algorithms, ML algorithm and other things, which can really help people as well as operators, or as well as the other enterprise user, to make their best use of 5G, best use of data, and best use of kind of your use cases which are coming. Because if our AIML part is strong, we are good decision maker based on the best data analytics, accuracy is 100%, then all the use cases of this connected car, then kind of medical use cases on the 5G is going to be reality. So AIML has a big role to play in 5G, and especially India and Indian talent has a big role to play and help the society and drive the complete 5G initiative, not only in India, globally.
So I'd like to start with Gaurav, and I want him to know where we are vis-a-vis 5G and what is the identified plan that the industry has in mind. So what is it that we are targeting, and what are we expecting from 5G?
The workforce, as Pamela ma'am and Mondal indicated, they were one involved in designing ASICs chips and all that. Now, in last 25 years, what has happened, Professor, is we have become software engineers. We have not become a solution engineer or solution creators. So, picking that thing, companies focusing on that. And third part is, today, Professor, I'm part of some POCs. I'll tell you, we have a team of 10 people. some people from Germany, they are research scholar. Some people from Sweden, another one me from India. See, 10 people from different interdisciplinary skills working together. There is no timeline for us. The timeline is like, you invest in a year and then you make this POC happen. So investment, picking up the right people, investing in them, make it POC work, then industrialize it, and then optimize it. What we tends to be doing, Prof, is we are thinking about cost-cutting measure or optimization in the first place itself. This is becoming a too much of a deal breaker for a lot of people who want to build things here in India. So unless there is a mind shift, so this is one mind shift. Second is people mindset, because people in the telecom industry in India were too focused on RAN, core, cloud. You need to have people with an architecture mindset who could span across. Third is there'll be a shift in the organization structure, in the sense that we have to get away with this feudal mindset of general manager, DGMs kind of terminology. Let's get to technologist mindset. Let people work together, because there'll be managers of tomorrow, or the vice presidents of tomorrow has to manage team which are people with the data scientist background, people from AIML background, people from chip designing background, people from security background, and people from the networks background. So all of it has to gel together.
How it works?
Yeah, sure, Professor Brajesh. So if I really look into India as a talent hub, India has been a supplier of raw talent to the world in the form of the outsourced business. There has been, I would say, attempts at different points in time, rather than supplying the raw material, create the finished goods. Now, when it comes to creating the finished goods, it's about the supply chain, not only in the talent, but also into the entire ecosystem. So if you really look into the ecosystem, what does really a startup culture in Silicon Valley thrive upon? It is the collaboration, coming together of the consumers, the providers, and the component providers all into a closed loop mechanism. So I guess there are multiple ingredients. So if we have to shift ourselves from technology consuming nation or the raw material supplier nation to finished goods producer, it's a huge shift into the mindset. So I will just give you an example. If I am very risk averse, what I will do, I'll pick up a job which requires skill. I'll pick up the skill and then I will excel at it. I will get a very good plum job with one of the employers who is making that finished goods. The key question is, if India has to take that risk and stand on its feet, unless there is a closed loop ecosystem of the consumer challenging you with certain constraint and say that can you make it to this specification, and there is amount of trust to make sure that happens. So I guess all these are coming together now, the policymakers, the consumers, and the equipment makers, that is meeting the all together. Now specifically I will talk about what we are trying to do, and some of the challenges that we are facing, right? So if you really look at, we are trying to do the disaggregated radio access network, different parts of it we are trying to make. Now as you know that 5G is a fairly complex set of technologies coming together to construct a wireless network. You start with the antenna, then you deal with the RF, then you get into the baseband signal processing part, then you get into layer 2, layer 3 protocols, the scheduling for the management and orchestration. You come up with all of that. Now, what interestingly is happening is, because of the abundance of IT jobs, people are very attracted towards the low entry barrier jobs rather than super specialization. So, for example, 5G is bringing multiple frequency bands, and the power amplifier in the macro case is one of the complex areas to deal with. So power amplifier design, maintaining the linearity, giving wide channel bandwidth, not a technology is natively available in India. the technology is skill natively available. So the question is, how do you really go about creating it? So it essentially is also a lot of coming together of the academia and the industry to make sure that theory to practice is really possible, and the trust of an investor, whether it is HFCL's management trusting that yes, these guys will be able to do something, or some of HFCL's customer giving an assurance that they will buy it if it is made into a particular area of performance, then I think there is a going together. Otherwise, the first question will be the NRE cost. Is it justified? Why would I invest it if there is no assurance that somebody is going to buy it? So that is where the challenge comes. And then if you really look at it, also is becoming multidisciplinary. As I talked about the compute and connect together, so it is so true because of the disaggregation, the way you construct the network management, the traditional hierarchical model is breaking with the wherein with a hybrid model of management. Now you suddenly find you need people with computer science background and the communication. Where do you find it? And I recently have hired people, and I actually am myself training them in a collaboration with the academia and some of those houses. And it's a journey. It's a journey. But I think one positive thing is there is a thriving ecosystem in India. I think we are the second largest startup hub. So I am very sure with everybody's effort and willingness, this is going to be a global hub of technology creators. Thank you.
Thank you, Subhash, for those encouraging words. So look at the role that Open RAN can potentially play in this India specific solution or India perspective to the whole 5G ecosystem. So here I would request Radhe to chime in, say a few words about what his take is on ORAN.
Thanks, Professor Brijesh. So clearly, if we look at traditional RAN, it's basically comprises of proprietary hardware and software. And Open RAN, if I talk about, it basically has done two things. Firstly, it has decoupled the hardware from software. Secondly, it opens the interfaces and make them interoperable. And now this is quite remarkable. And clearly, Open RAN has gained a lot of traction. My previous speakers just now mentioned that we can intuitively understand that it has lowered the entry barrier for new companies in the RAN space. Now, many companies can actually focus on the subsystem level development rather than having to develop the entire RAN as a box. And what it can help in the sense is multiple companies can develop interoperable subsystem, and a system integrator can integrate them and deliver a full working solution. We can see that Open RAN has already opened a large number of opportunities for smaller companies, including Indian startups, and many companies are participating in the solution ecosystem and playing meaningful role. I would say that as we see that in earlier generation of technologies, India was playing pretty much the role of consumer of technology. But I think now with Open RAN and 5G, India will play both the roles of producer of technology as well as consumer of technology. With that, I pause.
And thank you, everybody. It has been a very, very enriching experience for me, and I'm sure it's the same for all of you. For me, the key takeaway has been the statement that we may or may not be there right now, but we are moving in the right direction, where the operative words are moving and right direction. So we are moving in the right direction, and that is encouraging, that is heartening. So on that note, I would like to thank all the panel members and to Avinash for setting this up. Over to you, Avinash, to close the panel discussion.
My pleasure, Professor. Indeed, there's great opportunity for all of us to, come together and grab it and, get India to the level where some of the developed nations are. In fact, thank you very much for your time. We hope that, we all can certainly kind of stay in touch and take this forward. Thank you again. Thanks, Professor.